The United States Air Force is officially moving on from the A-10 Thunderbolt II, the toughest, most beloved warplane ever built. They say it's a sitting duck in a modern war. They say they have better, faster, stealthier tools. But if you're a soldier in a foxhole and the enemy is 50 yards away, those better tools might actually be a death sentence. Today on Armored Geeks, we're breaking down the A-10 replacement math, the political tug-of-war keeping it alive, and the critical scalpel gap the Pentagon isn't talking about. Stick around, because the numbers tell a story the debate doesn't. To understand what's at stake, you have to understand where the A-10 came from. It was born out of necessity. During Vietnam, American troops were getting chewed up in close combat, and the fast jets flying overhead couldn't help. An F-4 Phantom screaming by at 500 knots couldn't tell a friendly from an enemy at treetop level, leading to casualties from their own air support. So the Air Force launched the AX program with one question. What if you built a plane around a gun? Not a fighter that happens to carry a gun that happens to have a plane attached. The result was the GAU-8/A Avenger, a 7-barrel 30mm Gatling cannon the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. It fires 3,900 rounds per minute of depleted uranium slugs that can shred a Soviet main battle tank. The A-10 was literally designed around this weapon. The nose landing gear is offset to the right because the gun sits dead center. Now, since this is Armored Geeks, let's talk about what makes these rounds special. Because the engineering is remarkable. Each round leaves the barrel at 1,013 meters per second, with roughly 203,000 joules of muzzle energy. For context, that's about 10 times the energy of a .50 caliber BMG round. Depleted uranium is almost twice as dense as lead. If you had a 1-gallon milk jug filled with lead, it would weigh about 95 pounds. Filled with DU, it would weigh roughly 160 pounds. But the real engineering genius is what happens on impact. Most penetrator materials, tungsten for example, mushroom on contact. The tip flattens, spreads, and loses its ability to punch deeper. Depleted uranium does the opposite. When the DU core strikes hardened armor, the immense pressure creates what material scientists call adiabatic shear bands, localized zones where the metal softens and shears away. Instead of mushrooming, the tip sheds its deformed outer layer and reforms into a new sharp point. It's a self-sharpening bullet. That property alone makes DU penetrators roughly 20% more effective than tungsten equivalents. And it gets worse for the target. DU is naturally pyrophoric, meaning it ignites spontaneously when finely divided and exposed to air. So once the penetrator punches through armor plate, the fragments catch fire inside the vehicle, igniting ammunition, fuel, and anything else in the crew compartment. It doesn't just punch a hole, it turns the interior into an inferno. Then they wrap the gun in what pilots call the titanium bathtub, 1,200 pounds of titanium armor protecting the cockpit. The engines are mounted high to reduce heat signatures from ground fire. The landing gear is semi-exposed, so it can belly land on a dirt strip without collapsing. Redundant hydraulic systems, manual flight reversion, self-sealing fuel tanks. This airplane was designed to get shot and keep flying. And for nearly 50 years, it has done exactly that. Now, before the retirement debate, there's something most people don't realize. The A-10 flying today is not the airplane that rolled off the line in the 1970s. The original A-10A was analog, steam gauges, iron bombs, and the gun. Starting in 2005, the Air Force converted all 356 airframes to the A-10C standard under the Precision Engagement Program. The upgrade added a glass cockpit, a Scorpion helmet-mounted cueing system, and the ability to employ JDAMs, laser-guided bombs, and GPS-guided weapons, transforming the Warthog into a precision striker. Software updates have continued pushing the envelope. And as of early 2026, select A-10Cs carry Link 16, plugging the Warthog directly into the same tactical network as the F-35. F15 EX, and AWACS. Boeing also delivered 173 new wing sets rated for 10,000 flight hours, with 112 more under contract, structurally viable into the 2030s. If you've ever looked at an A-10 recently and thought the nose looked like a snake, you're not imagining things. That serpentine design belongs to the 163rd Fighter Squadron, part of the Indiana Air National Guard's 122nd Fighter Wing, nicknamed the Blacksnakes. The name traces back to the American Revolutionary War. Major General Anthony Wayne, the namesake of Fort Wayne, Indiana, was known for having his troops lie flat and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Native Americans called him the Black Snake for this ambush-style patience. When the Warthog retires, those markings likely go with it. The F-35 stealth coatings can't be painted over. Here's the irony that frames this entire debate. The Air Force spent over $2 billion and a full decade building the A-10C. The hardware can fly into the 2030s. The upgrades make it more lethal and connected than at any point in its history. Then the 2026 budget didn't include the roughly $423 million needed for sustainment. Not all planned upgrades were completed. And the Air Force's position is that no amount of modernization changes the survivability problem against modern air defenses. To be fair, the Air Force's argument has substance. The A-10 was designed to fight Soviet tanks in the Scalpel Gap. The current planning scenario is a peer conflict. China in the Pacific, Russia in Eastern Europe, where modern integrated air defenses change everything. A Russian S-400 can detect an aircraft at 300+ miles and engage at nearly 250. The A-10 cruises at 340 knots with a radar cross-section about as subtle as a billboard. They built the Super Warthog to last until 2035. Then they decided to retire it by 2029. So what's replacing the Warthog? The Air Force isn't giving the close air support mission to one plane. They're splitting it across 4 platforms. Here's the channel's breakdown of how the mission portfolio is being divided. Number 1. The F15 Eagle 2. This is the new bomb truck. The latest version of the venerable F-15 airframe, the EX model, can carry over 29,000 pounds of ordnance, roughly twice the A-10's payload. It has 12 hardpoints for air-to-ground weapons, including Joint Direct Attack munitions, small-diameter bombs, and the new Stormbreaker glide bomb. It flies at Mach 2.5 and carries the EPAWSS electronic warfare suite. But here's what it doesn't have: titanium armor, redundant flight controls, a 30mm cannon, the ability to loiter low and slow for 6 hours over a battlefield. The F-15 EA-6 is a high-altitude precision striker, not a mud fighter. Number 2. The F-35, a Lightning II, the invisible ghost. The F-35's selling point is sensor fusion and stealth. It can detect and engage targets from 15 miles or more before the enemy knows it's there. Its targeting pod can identify a vehicle type from high altitude, and it carries a range of precision-guided munitions. The Air Force argues this is actually better close air support, killing the threat before it ever gets close to friendly troops. And in contested airspace, that may be true. But as the data will show, the picture changes when the fight isn't tidy. Number 3. Collaborative Combat Aircraft, the CCA Drones. This is the most futuristic piece. The Air Force's CCA program is developing expendable autonomous wingmen. 2 companies are competing: Anduril Industries with their YFQ-44A Fury drone and General Atomics with the YFQ-42A. Both completed their first flights in late 2025. These drones are designed to fly alongside crewed fighters, performing reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and even strike missions. The Air Force envisions buying up to 1,000 of them at roughly $25 to $30 million each, about a third the cost of an F-35. They take the risk so human pilots don't have to. A production decision is expected in fiscal 2026. but operational fielding isn't anticipated before 2028 at the earliest. So right now, they're a promise, not a reality. Number 4. The OA-1K Skyraider 2. The Skyraider 2 is a turboprop light attack plane built by L3 Harris Technologies, based on, and I'm not making this up, the Air Tractor AT-802 agricultural aircraft. Yes, it is literally derived from a crop duster. But don't let that fool you. It carries up to 6,000 pounds of ordnance across 10 hardpoints, including Hellfire missiles, paveway laser-guided bombs, and laser-guided rockets. It has 3 sensor turrets, lightweight composite armor, self-sealing fuel tanks, and it can loiter for up to 9 hours on internal fuel. It's designed to operate from dirt strips and can be disassembled for transport inside a C-17 cargo plane. The first missionized Skyraider 2s were delivered to Air Force Special Operations Command in April 2025, and it's on track to reach initial operational capability by late 2026. The program of record calls for 75 aircraft. But, and this is critical, the Skyraider 2 is a special operations asset. It's designed for permissive, low-threat environments. Counterinsurgency, not a conventional war against a peer adversary. And now we arrive at the real problem, what we're calling the Scalpel Gap. When a firefight goes danger close, the enemy within arm's reach of friendlies, you need a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. And for danger close, strafing with a cannon is the ultimate precision tool. Gun accuracy is measured in milliradians, or mils. 1 mil equals 1 meter of spread at 1,000 meters range. It scales linearly. Double the range, double the circle. The A-10's GAU-8 Avenger has a 5 mil dispersion. At 4,000 feet, 80% of rounds land in a 40-foot circle, about the size of a large living room. Each round weighs 14 ounces. Think a can of soda. And includes depleted uranium armor-piercing cores that kill main battle tanks. The gun sits dead center on the aircraft's belly, angled downward. It was designed from day one to shoot at the ground. The F15 EX's M61 Vulcan, 8 mil dispersion, 60% wider. And here's the big one. The Vulcan is mounted with an upward cant because it was designed for dogfighting, not strafing. Then there's speed. The A-10 flies at 120 knots. The F-15's minimum safe strafing speed is 250 plus. At twice the speed, every pass is a snapshot, not a sustained engagement. And the A-10 has 1,200 pounds of titanium armor to absorb ground fire. The F-15 has none. The F-35A, its GAU-22, carries 182 rounds, roughly 3 seconds of trigger time. The Pentagon's own test office called its accuracy unacceptable in 2020. Even if that's fixed, its smallest bomb, the GBU-39, has a 150-meter frag radius. If the enemy is 50 yards from friendlies, you cannot drop it. The CCA Drones carry no gun. The OA-1K Skyraider carries precision rockets, but no cannon. Nothing in the inventory replicates it, especially for 2 main reasons: the 30mm GAU-8 gun and the depleted uranium ammunition. And in 2026, the Air Force is trying to perform surgery with a laser-guided grenade launcher. In a war with China over Taiwan, stealth and standoff precision may be exactly what saves the day. But for the soldier on the ground, the one bleeding in a ditch with the enemy 50 meters away, the A-10 isn't just a plane, it's an insurance policy. It's the one aircraft in the American inventory specifically designed to put itself between danger and the troops it's protecting. An insurance policy isn't retired because the holder hopes it's never needed. It's retired when there's something better. And right now, for the danger close mission, there isn't. The A-10 may be old. It may be slow. But until something can match its gun, its armor, its loiter time, and its pilot's ability to see the fight with their own eyes, the Warthog is irreplaceable. Hit that like button if you think the Warthog deserves a longer life. Subscribe if you haven't already. We've got more deep dives coming next. and you won't want to miss them. This is Armored Geeks. We'll see you in the next one.